The guidelines and the two Bradley tax consideration forms, GTC Keep, BTC Keep, and BTC Transfer, are virtually useless in determining the best allocation for the children's personal exemptions and child tax credits, personal credits. This is the Molamphy Personal Credit Calculator when the custodial parent adjusted gross income is $6,300, non-custodial parents is $1,200, and there are 3 minor children, all of which qualify for the personal exemption and 2 of which qualify for the child tax credit. The best allocation is the custodial parent keeping the personal credits. The bottom of this exhibit shows that the custodial parent gains $218.19 in going from alternating to all, while the non-custodial parent loses $96.55 in going from alternating to none. So the child support is decreased by the sum of 1/2 of this gain plus 1/2 of this loss for $157.37, and each parent saves $60.82 for a return rate of 38.65%. Here, the custodial parent gains $170.89 in going from alternating to all, while the non-custodial parent loses $170.89 in going from alternating to none. The custodial parent loses $170.89 in going from alternating to none, while the non-custodial parent gains $170.89 in going from alternating to all. Alternating is the best allocation because there is no net gain if either parent gets all the personal credits. If the custodial parent keeps all the personal credits, then the non-custodial parent loses $170.89 in going from alternating to none. Here, the non-custodial parent gains $218.19 in going from alternating to all, while the custodial parent loses $81.83 in going from alternating to none. When that happens, the child support is increased by the sum of 1/2 of this gain, plus 1/2 of this loss for $150.01. And each parent saves $68.18 for a return rate of 45.45%. If the custodial parent alternates the personal credits, then the non-custodial parent loses $218.19 in going from all to alternating. If the custodial parent keeps the personal credits, then the non-custodial parent loses $218.19 in going from all to alternating, plus $218.19 in going from alternating to none, for a total loss of $436.37 with a penny rounding difference. Here is a summary of the Molamphy Personal Credit Calculator for all the examples in this 2-site presentation as a point of reference. These values are accurate. That is, they represent the actual results of the parents' federal and Kansas income tax differences in allocating the personal credits. This is the outdated Appendix 5 form from the guidelines. It can be transformed to this simple table lookup and percentage multiplication form. A YouTube video shows how that was done. However, this form has 3 interesting characteristics. First, there are lines for each parent's adjusted gross income and child support income. The first is for the tax considerations, and the second is for the parent's income percentages. Second, the child tax credit has no phase-in or phase-out, so even a non-custodial parent with no adjusted gross income gets the full child tax credit multiplied by the non-custodial parent's percentage of child support income that might be inputted. Third, the offset and personal exemptions tax considerations are bumpy, just like the child support. The incomes are $1,088 for the custodial parent and $3,921 for the non-custodial parent. When the custodial parent keeps the personal credits, the combined child support decrease is $275.94, $8.37 for the offset, and $267.57 for the personal credits. Add $1 to each parent's income, and the combined child support decrease is $372.09, $27.28 for the offset, and $344.81 for the personal credits. A $96.15 total increase in the decrease, or 34.84%. The GTC, in effect, takes marginal tax brackets and converts them into fixed tax rates based on the starting adjusted gross income, ignoring that the tax rates might vary over the differences in the minimum standard deductions or personal exemptions from the children. In this example, the federal and Kansas factor for one child is $91.29, but that higher factor only applies to the last taxable dollar of the non-custodial parent. Let's look at this exhibit a little more carefully. That $91.29 factor for one child applies to the last taxable dollar, so the $58.38 factor applies to the remaining tax savings from the children's personal exemptions. However, note that the $91.29 factor is first multiplied by 3 for the number of children, then added to the child tax credits, and then multiplied by the non-custodial parent's child support income percentage of 78.27% for a total child support decrease of $344.81. This $344.81 child support decrease is within $348.90 minus $344.81, or $4.09 from the accurate results. But note that if the custodial parent's income is $1,088 and the non-custodial parent's is $3,921, then the non-custodial parent's guidelines tax loss is $267.57, which is way short of the accurate $348.80. This is why the bumpiness is a real problem. But the bigger problem is that the best allocation for both of these examples is the transfer, and the guidelines are silent on the appropriate child support increase for a transfer. The guidelines are also silent on any child support decrease if the custodial parent alternates. Finally, let's deal with an example that uses the guidelines in a positive manner, with the custodial parent having the higher income, and so the custodial parent should keep the personal credits. Here, the child support is properly decreased by $44.90. When that happens, and everybody should be happy. Unfortunately, That example was presented as the first exhibit. Note that the low-income non-custodial parent loses $56 minus a negative $137.10 or $193.10 in going from all to none. The child support decrease of $44.90 doesn't cover this actual loss. However, the custodial parent gains $1,073.65 minus $637.28 or $436.37 for a net gain of $391.47 in keeping the personal exemptions. Not a bad deal there. Finally, note that the Molamphy PC calculator in effect splits this difference, with a child support decrease of $157.37, generating a tax savings of $60.82 to each parent. There have been 3 calculations of the head of household offset through the GTC KEEP. The first was part of the bump detection study, with the custodial parent's income at $1,088 and the non-custodial parents at $3,921, where the offset was $8.37. The actual difference between each parent filing as head of household compared to single is 1/2 of the custodial parent's gain in going from alternating to always filing as head of household, plus 1/2 of the non-custodial parent's loss in going from alternating to always filing as single. In this example, the offset is 1/2 of $17.43 plus 1/2 of $35.70 or $26.56. Not surprisingly, the Molamphy head of household calculator is not bumpy, for adding $1 to each parent's income has no effect on the offset that stays at $26.56 compared to the guidelines offset of $27.28. There is another big difference in the offset when the custodial parent has the higher income. The guidelines offset is a very low $12.06, even though the offset factor is $75.40, because that high offset factor is multiplied by the non-custodial parent's low child support income percentage of 16%, and $75.40 times 16% is $12.06. The Molamphy head of household calculator has an offset of 1/2 of the custodial parent's gain in going from alternating to always filing as head of household, plus 1/2 of the non-custodial parent's loss in going from alternating to always filing as single. In this example, the offset is 1/2 of $17.43 plus 1/2 of $99.87 or $58.65. Finally, GTC KEEP ignores the federal income tax bracket differences between single and head of household filers. These differences grow with increasing taxable income and can be significant.